Welcome to this video, and in this video we are going to look at what is SQL injection. So let's get started. Alright, so this is kind of a definition of SQL injection. SQL injection is a code injection technique used to attack data driven application. It means a application which does have a database in the backend, and in which malicious SQL statements are inserted into an entry field for execution to dump their database. Okay, so this is what an SQL injection is. So I have a graphical scenario to make you understand what is SQL injection. So this is kind of a usual scenario, and in this usual scenario I'll show you how usually the web application works and how it communicates it with the database. So yeah, let's see. Here is a browser, a web application, and a database. So browser sends an HTTP request to the web application, and on a web application, let's say there is a particular feature or a functionality. When a user accesses it, maybe a user is trying to store some data, okay, like signing up on a particular application. So at that point of time we fill out the details, registration form and everything, and at that point of time our details get stored into the database. Okay, this is kind of a one instance, but there could be another instance also. After login you have a lot of different forms, you fill out the details. So every time when you fill out some details, it stores into the database, and that's why web application sends the data to the database. So it is a web application's responsibility to send your data to the database. And then when you try to access any particular page, let's say my profile, so in that case, when you open that my profile page, web application pulls the data from the database to showcase it to you on your screen, and that's how the web application retrieves the data from the database and sends back to you in a form of HTTP response. So this is a usual scenario. Okay, then now, in case of an SQL injection, when the web application is vulnerable to SQL injection, how the scenario gets changed. So over here, in case of the instead of the normal scenario, the usual scenario, what a hacker would do, a hacker sitting remotely would inject malicious SQL queries, okay, to form a malicious request. And due to this nature, due to this nature, a hacker would be able to gain an unauthorized data access from the database. So yes, this can be done with the help of SQL injection. So if the web application is vulnerable to SQL injection, that web application will allow an end user or an attacker to inject the own malicious square query and try to pull out the database. Okay, so this will happen if the web application is vulnerable to SQL injection, and we are going to have live demonstrations onto it. Okay, two live demonstrations, and these are different two types. We will definitely look into it. So yeah, this is the same thing, maybe a repetition of the slide. Now, impact of SQL injection. So, for an example, a hacker has successfully found out an SQL injection on a web application. What a hacker could do? A hacker could gain access to the data which is stored in the database. That's basically an unauthorized access. So it leads to a data theft. Then mass account takeover. So if we have pulled out the data from the database, of course we'll have username, password, email address, all the details of all the users who is registered into that particular web application. So we can do mass account takeover, uploading a web shell. So we can first of all inject our own code and execute it, and then we can upload a web shell. So it's like code injection, command execution, uploading a backdoor, that's kind of a web shell. So everything is possible with the help of SQL injection. Compromising the server. So if you upload a web shell, you basically have an access to the entire server, and you are now a server administrator. Okay, so you have all the rights. Then routing the server. Sometimes you may have the least privileges. You have an access to the server, but the least privileges are assigned to your user. So you may have to do the privilege escalation, and when you do the privilege escalation, it means you have bypassed the privileges which was assigned to you, which is called as a routing process. Then using server as a proxy or a bot in advanced attack. So of course, once we have an access to the entire server, we can use it as a proxy or a bot, okay, for an advanced attack. So of course, these all these things a hacker can do if your web application is vulnerable to SQL injection, and this is kind of an impact of SQL injection. Now, in the next video, we are going to have a look at these two injections, and that too on live website. Okay, that's going to be a live demonstration, and this will really excite you guys. So we are going to learn about MySQL injection, union query injection, integer based, and union query injection, string based. So we'll be learning this in the next video. I hope you have understood what is SQL injection. Just stay excited, stay motivated, and see you guys in the next video. Thank you.